Sure. So my name is Rob Goyotte, and as you and your dad know, I live in Puerto Rico with my wife and two sons, and I do most of my business online or virtually.
Mhm.
I fit into the coaching space, things like life coaches, business coaches, relationship coaches, and
Mhm.
really I'm a marketing coach for coaches. So I
Mhm.
help coaches get clients. That's how I built my business. Um, yeah, and so I built a list of about 20,000 coaches,
Wow.
and that's a really good thing for an entrepreneur to have is an email list of
Mhm.
people they can reach out to. And social media is good too,
Mhm.
but the thing about social media is usually you have to catch them when they're scrolling down their Facebook feed and
Yeah.
interrupt them from what they're doing versus sending out an email that's going to sit in their email inbox until they deal with it. So
Mhm.
building an email list is a really powerful thing for any entrepreneur to have, no matter what business they're in.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's really important. Email, it's something that's being kind of overlooked nowadays. People want to go to just more LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter, which are all great, but I think email is very underrated. I think it's a very powerful tool when implemented right.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's tempting to do social media, and you can. I would
Mm-hmm.
say that the goal of your social media, though, is to get people onto that email list. Because
Yes.
again, when you have something you want them to read, you can hope they see it on social media, or you can make sure they at least have to deal with it when it's in their email inbox. Now, they
Mm-hmm.
might flag it as spam or something like that. That's
Yeah.
true. And so I would say actually doing both social media and email marketing would be
Yeah.
profitable. I
Mm-hmm.
do almost no social media though, and last year, I did $1 million in revenue. It was a little over a
Wow.
million. It definitely email is not dead. It still works
Mm-hmm.
very, very
Yeah.
well. So yeah, if I were to give advice to my 17-year-old self or to 17-year-old entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
probably the first thing is to get really clear on who you'd like to serve as the entrepreneur, like who are
Mm-hmm.
your people and what's most important to them. What do they
Mm-hmm.
want? You know, there's wants and there's needs. So
Yes.
what they need might not be what they want, but if you
Mm-hmm.
can bring them into your world with what they want, you can
Mm-hmm.
then later sell them or give them what they need.
Yeah.
So I would be thinking about who is my ideal audience and what is it that they really want. And if you can come up with something like let's say a web page that
Mm-hmm.
you can drive those people to, maybe from
Mm-hmm.
social media, I don't know, but drive those people to, they can then put in their name and email address to
Mm-hmm.
get some free gift that helps them get what they want, but then that gets them on your list. So my
Yes.
advice to my 17-year-old self would be get really clear on who I serve and how I serve them, and
Mm-hmm.
then start to build and nurture an email list. May
Yeah,
I go into
definitely.
some detail about nurturing?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So once you get the people onto your email list, if you don't do anything with them, they just sit there and they go
Mm-hmm.
stale. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of clients where that's the case. They haven't talked to their email list in 2 or 3 years. And now it's important to them to try to sell something, but the people on the list don't remember that person. So
Mm-hmm.
what I recommend is when people get on your email list, emailing them a little more intensely at first, not every day, but a little more intensely at first, but then ultimately once a week on the day of the week they opted in. So if today is Thursday, I might email them today and tomorrow on Friday, skip a
Mm-hmm.
day, Saturday, but then email them on Sunday, skip a
Mm-hmm.
day, and email them on Monday. Hold on, I just got lost here. So what I'm saying is you want to email them on day 1, 2, 4, 6, and 8. That's really
Okay.
the math. So
Okay.
if today's Thursday, then ultimately they will get an email from me every Thursday because that might be the day of the week that they're most receptive to getting an email because that's when they were interested in the offer. But if you can then email them once a week with really helpful information, we call this nurturing. You're
Mm-hmm.
building trust. And what sells anything is two factors. It's trust and an irresistible offer. So this is
Mm-hmm.
true in any business. You could own a Pizza Hut and it would be true. People would have to trust that they're going to get the pizza they expect and it needs to be an irresistible offer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can use the emails by nurturing, sending out regular emails to nurture your audience, they'll learn to trust you. And if you can deeply nurture them by making YouTube videos or having regular Zoom calls with
Mm-hmm.
groups of people, they can trust you even more. If you can
Mm-hmm.
maximize that trust, they need to trust you as a person and you as the expert who can give them what they
Mm-hmm.
want.
Yeah.
then the other piece of that is creating irresistible offers for them.
Mm-hmm.
So the other piece of advice I would give to my 17-year-old self, if we're talking about three things, one is to get clear on who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Another is to build that email list for the trust and nurture them. And then the third is to come up with irresistible offers that are absolute no-brainers. And there are two factors to an irresistible offer. The first is that the audience needs to understand what the offer is. I missed this step for a long time. I thought, a lot of us in this industry, we come up with these great ideas and we think everyone's going to buy this, and nobody does. And we can't figure out why, because it's a great deal and it's what they want. They just don't understand the offer. They need to understand the inputs, their time, energy, and money that they're putting in to get what you're providing for them. If they understand it, the other part of the irresistible offer is that it needs to be an absolute no-brainer as far as the value you give to them compared to the relatively small price that they pay. And in my world, we would classify this as business coaching, and it's pretty easy to do that. I can tell someone, I can show you how to make $100,000 if you give me $10,000. That's irresistible if they trust me. But in other areas, it's not quite as easy to show the value as it would be to say, I can help you make $100,000. But if I can show you how to get $100,000 worth of value in a relationship, if you're helping people with their relationships, or in fitness by showing them how to get off medications and live longer and save hospital visits, if you can show them the value and make it huge compared to the relatively small price they pay, that's really what an irresistible offer is. I know I just talked a whole lot there, Muskan, but
no, I think it was a lot of really great information. It's definitely something that I don't think is as commonly talked about. So I really appreciate you taking the time and really diving deep so people really understand and know how to implement it. And they can obviously go look for more help if they need it. But I think you did a really, really good job of explaining it. So thank you.
Great. Well, my pleasure. Anything else either you'd like to ask me or you'd like me to talk about? I'm happy to continue talking.
Yeah, sure. You talked a little bit how you're kind of like a coach, like for other like business and life. What is like the most commonly seen problem that you've seen, maybe specifically business, that you think is a lot easier to overcome than people assume?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I'm not trying to sidestep your question, but I will say that as far as something seeming to be really difficult and actually being a lot easier, sometimes it comes down to mindset. And so before last year, I had never done $1 million in revenue. I didn't believe that I could. And so what I did is I hired a mindset coach to help me. And what she did is she walked me back to childhood, even younger than 17, and had me question away some beliefs that were holding me back. I think the one she worked on with me most was like, I don't deserve this, or I don't deserve $1 million, or I don't deserve success. And so we questioned that away. And then she had me rated on a scale of 1 to 10. How did I feel afterwards? And it was not as powerful of a negative statement as it was before. And so I think that translated into me being more confident and taking action when I might have felt lazy and just not done something. So I think having the right mindset or a strong mindset is really important as far as overcoming things that don't seem that seem hard and making them easy. Another thing that's really been helpful for me and for almost all of my clients is something called the Pareto principle. People call it the 80-20 rule. And essentially what it is you want to spend your time and your money and your resources doing the little things that make a big difference. And I'll just say cleaning my room as an example, because that's one we can all relate to. If I'm having company over and they're going to see my room, I'm not going to spend an hour getting all the dust out from under the bed. That would be a lot of time for a little result. What I might do is make the bed, which doesn't take much time, but addresses, 25% of the room or whatever it is. So what I'm saying is like, it's doing the little things that make a big difference. And this works in business and in life.
Definitely. I think people get caught up a lot on the smaller things that people might not see or notice as much, and they don't focus on the bigger task at hand that will definitely show a bigger presentation, a bigger impact. So yeah, I think that's something really, really important. Whether you do anything, business or life or just stuff in general, I think that's really important to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think sometimes we tend to be perfectionists and we want to get
Mm-hmm.
everything perfect. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that cleaning the room is a good analogy. If I was going to be a
Yeah.
perfectionist, I might spend 5 extra hours on things like dust under the bed that really,
Mm-hmm.
if I just spent 20 minutes, the room would look presentable enough. And it's the same with
Mm-hmm.
business. My stuff is not perfect. It doesn't always look great. Everything is not edited out perfectly. But it's enough to what I did produce gives people what they want 80/20. It gives them most of what they want
Yeah.
for a little bit of their time, energy, and money. So, yeah, the 80/20 rule, it's a really great rule to embrace in so
Mm-hmm.
many situations.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think you shared a lot of really great information today. I think I was really appreciative of what you delved into in the beginning with the email marketing and stuff, because I think that's something that they don't teach at all, really. And if they do, it's very brief. So I really appreciate it. And congrats on the $1 million in revenue. I think that's such an amazing accomplishment.
Well,
Definitely
thank
not a
you.
small feat. So really, congratulations on that.
Thanks, Miss
And
Khan. I appreciate
yeah,
it.
of course. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I learned a lot of great things that I can definitely help me in my life and in business and just in personal life. So I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thanks for talking with me today.
Of course. Have a great day.
You too. Bye. Bye, everybody.